No Credits Roll.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 18 of No Credits Rolled. My name is Sam Whalen and that's right, we're back baby. I know you were thinking, wow, only 17 episodes? Wow, what a chump. Nope, 18. 18's the lucky number. But yeah, we're back. We got a new setup, a new audio setup here, and that was kind of why we took the break. Just some personal stuff I had going on, trying to figure out where I was going to record this thing. We did, we here, the extensive team here at No Credits Roll did hypothesize with buying a warehouse and doing that, the podcast there, but that wasn't really financially viable. So instead we're doing this. Anyway, it's that time of year again. It's my favorite time. It's Game Awards season. So, I had to come back and give my predictions and my thoughts on some of the nominations. And that's what we're doing on today's episode. We are going to take a look at nominations that I care about. Because remember, I don't cover everything. I only cover the stuff I care about. And so we're gonna get right into it. But I just want to remind everyone, if you're listening to the show, make sure you subscribe if you can. It really does help us out. We reached 500 downloads the other day in total, which was pretty cool considering I haven't done a new episode in like, I don't know, what's it been, like 2-3 months. We crossed over 500 downloads, so I'm not really sure who's downloading them, but if you are, I appreciate it. And keep doing it because I like to get those notifications. It really makes me feel good, even though, again, I've left you all starved for content for the last 2 months. But yeah, No Credits Rolled on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, we'll be there for you. But let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 2024 Game Awards. At the time of this posting, they will be tomorrow night, hosted by our Lord and Savior, Jeff Keighley. Like I said in the intro to the show, a general blanket caveat for the whole episode. I'm only covering the categories I care about. I haven't necessarily experienced every game in every category. There's a ton of... There's just a lot of stuff getting covered here, a lot of games, and there's a lot of stuff that comes out every year, so I can't get to everything, but I will give my thoughts on what I can, and we'll get right into it. So we're going to start with Best Adaptation. This is where you get your TV shows. So we have Arcane, which I haven't seen Arcane. I think I watched the first episode, and I don't remember why I stopped watching it, but it is one I want to get back to because I know it's very popular. I don't play League of Legends, but again, I think the production value of that show cannot be denied. I think it looks very expensive, but in a good way. And I know, judging by the general public, I think this is probably tied for first with my nomination. We'll get into in a second, but it's definitely on my watch list. And I do want to get to it, but there's a lot of stuff out there, and only so much time in a day. But this next one, I think, is what is probably going to take it, and that's Fallout. It feels like a lifetime ago that this show came out, but I guess it qualified for the awards this year. I love this show. This is what I would like to win for this category. I think this show is absolutely incredible. I think I covered it before on maybe the episode where I talked about Fallout 76, because that was when I was getting back into the Fallout series because of the show. Especially if you're not a Fallout fan, I think it is a perfect show to get you into Fallout, and I think it stands alone as well. I don't think you need to play the games before or after watching the show. I think it's a quality television program, okay? It's one of the best video game adaptations ever made, and separate from the games, like I said, it's a good show, and I dare you to go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime Video if you have that. Great cast, great sets. There's a really cool... They do like an old, one of the town sets is very cool. A lot of cool stuff. Go watch it, okay? They're filming season 2 now, I think, and I'm just very excited to see where they're going to take this show in the future. And I'm probably repeating myself now, but what I really liked about it overall was that it captured the essence and the themes of Fallout really well. And I think it did it in a new but approachable way for new fans. So highly recommend it. We've got Knuckles. Knuckles is our next nomination. I forgot this show existed. So this is like the TV show spinoff of the new Sonic movies, which I also haven't seen, but I know I probably should because I'd probably like them. I know the first one was kind of mixed reviews. The second one is where people really said it really stepped up their game. And now we get a third one coming out with Shadow. Those trailers look very cool. But Sonic is I enjoy Sonic. I've played, the Sonic, not all the Sonic games, but I've played a handful of them, and the ones I've played I have enjoyed. Sonic is mostly a meme for me. I just think he's super funny, and the intensity of the fan base I respect, and I do get enjoyment out of that. But if Idris Elba shows up, because he voices Knuckles, if he shows up for the Game Awards to accept 4 Knuckles, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. So I'd like to see that. Not enough that I would like Knuckles to win, though. So, and then we have Like a Dragon Yakuza, which is another show I didn't know came out. This is an adaptation of the super popular Japanese franchise. I have one friend who is a big Yakuza fan. They, I think, are steering entirely clear of this show. I don't think they've watched it. I don't know how the Like a Dragon or the Yakuza crowd is really, how they feel about this show. I mean, assuming it's just like a crime drama, I don't know how they captured the tone of Yakuza. I feel like that would be the hardest part because that game, I've played 3 of them, I think. 3 or 4 of them, not to their entirety because they're really long games, but I've played a decent chunk of at least Like a Dragon, Ishin, and the other one that I can't remember. But I played a decent chunk of there was the old time samurai one and then the turn-based one. I played those 2 a lot. And The Man Who Erased His Name. I played that for a little bit and then got bored of it. But I think if you're going to make a show about it, I think the hardest thing to do would be the tone because it's all over the place. So, you know, I hope those folks enjoyed it. I hope someone enjoyed it. It was good enough to be nominated, right? So that's something. But yeah, I don't really think this one has a super good chance of winning. I think it really comes down to Fallout and Arcane. We do have one more nomination that I forgot. Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. I believe this was the animated Netflix show. I haven't watched this either. I really enjoyed the Crystal Dynamic trilogy of Lara Croft games. I thought they were super well done. They start to kind of blend together, honestly. They're very similar, in my opinion, but they're quality. So if you like the first one, they only get better and they only add more stuff as they go. So if you like the first one, you're going to like the other 2. And they're very well done games. I hope, again, this is another situation where I hope the people that watched it enjoyed it. I hope diehard Lara Croft fans got what they wanted out of this show. And yeah, it's up here for a nomination. So like I said, my winner, I think, is going to be Fallout or Arcane. I would like to go to Fallout. I believe Arcane has won it in the past. I think they won it last year. So yeah, my money's on Fallout here. We'll see what happens. Next up, we got Best Narrative. So we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm probably going to say this about 1 billion times in this podcast. I have not finished Rebirth. I've played it. You know, I played the beginning of it. But it's sitting on my hard drive, occupying like 120 gigs of space, just waiting to be played, and I just haven't gotten to it. So that's up for Best Narrative. By the way, this is going to become another recurring trend. I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy VII is in like a ton of these categories, and it could be the front runner in pretty much any of them. So take that how you will. Next up, we have Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. My one RGG Yakuza fan said that Infinite Wealth was like incredible. It was her personal game of the year. So hoping maybe they'll throw Infinite Wealth a bone here because I don't think it was nominated for Game of the Year. So maybe it will get this instead as sort of like a consolation prize. We'll see. Metaphor Refantasio, however you say it. I have been playing more of that since I did these show notes. I played a decent chunk of it. Again, it's from the folks at Studio Zero, Atlas. So these are also very lengthy JRPGs, so I've probably barely even scratched the surface. I've heard a lot of positive things about it, which is why I've been trying to work my way through it. That has since been put very far in the back burner with some games that I am not even sure I'm going to talk about on today's episode, but Indiana Jones and Marvel Rivals have occupied any free time that I have when I go to play games. I am obsessed with both those games. Might save those for review on another episode. But yeah, anyway, back to Metaphor. In terms of the narrative, I mean, it's cool so far. I am in the very beginning stages of it. I'm curious to see where it goes. It does that calendar mechanic that the Persona games I've played does. It does it in a different way where you have to like win over this town or this floating god rock man will kill you. So that's pretty cool. I'm curious to see where the story goes. You know, I am actually keeping up with it. I think I'm pretty sure I have a grasp on what's going on. Like the narrative hasn't completely lost me because I don't pay attention. But yeah. Next up, we have Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Did not play this one or the first Hellblade game, although I know they are critically acclaimed. I know they're very well known for their soundscapes, and I believe it is nominated for a sound category as well, which we'll get back to. But Yeah, I mean, Xbox was teasing this one for a while. I remember seeing like 50,000 trailers for this game, so I hope it lived up to the expectations. I believe it reviewed well when it came out, but it's one of those AA games that sort of flies under your radar. But good to see that get a nomination here. We have Silent Hill 2 from Bloober Team, which is a funny name, so I'm going to say it whenever I can. I think folks like this one too. I think. I don't really play a lot of horror games because I am a coward, said that before. I don't know if they have changed the narrative because I know Silent Hill 2 is sort of known for its like atmosphere, but then also like its story twists and stuff. I guess again, very much not my area. But hey, it's up for best narrative, so you know. What else we got here? I have my winner here being Silent Hill. I don't know why I put that. I don't know if I agree with that. In hindsight, now looking at my show notes, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that to Metaphor. I think Metaphor is going to win this category because I know people love that game, and I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year that it's up for. So, yeah, they'll give it Best Narrative. Guaranteed. Take that to the bank. Next up, we've got Best Art Direction. We have Astrobot, which, look, folks, this I was going to save this until we got to Game of the Year nomination, but Astrobot came up in this category first. Astrobot is the best thing ever. It is the best. It is God's gift to mankind. And I just cannot express how much I love this game enough. So yes, I love Astrobot. I will gush about it later on in the show. Happy to see it here for Best Art Direction. I think it is a very unique looking game. The way they integrate the Astrobot design, which is simple but memorable, the way they work that into every aspect of the game, the way the levels are designed and the different biomes. I mean, it's incredible. So, spoilers. Just kidding. I don't know who wrote it's like someone else wrote these show notes because I am disagreeing with myself left and right here. Anyway, the next nomination we have here is Black Myth Wukong, which at the time of writing these notes, past Sam had not played Black Myth Wukong, but now present Sam has. And I'm here to say, folks, Black Myth Wukong is a good game. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I didn't finish it because, of course, that's the name of the show. I played a bunch of it, and I do want to go back to it because I was really enjoying it. It's a Souls-like game where you're the Monkey King, which I don't really, I'm not one of those people that will like play diehard Souls games no matter what they are. But monkeys, on the other hand, I'm a big monkey guy. I love monkeys, so I've been really enjoying that. The combat is a little weird. It's unique, right? It's different. There's like stances and there's like a weird tempo to the combat. However, I'm really liking the game so far, and I was moving through it at a pretty decent clip until I got distracted with new releases, but definitely one I want to go back to. And in terms of art direction, I think it's a very pretty game. I think the enemy and character designs are cool. They're kind of gross. There's like he looks like Master Roshi from Dragon Ball. There's like this little like, I don't even know how to describe him. He's like a tuber, like a vegetable man who's like your little sensei. He's gross looking. I really don't like looking at him whenever he's on the screen. So, I mean, that's part of art direction, right? So that's something. It's memorable. We've got Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. I know people love the style and the art in these FromSoft games, so I would not be shocked if this takes the cake here. This is also, of course, up for Game of the Year, which we will get to in terms of my thoughts on that. But this is the DLC for Elden Ring. So, yeah, maybe they'll give it this. Metaphor is in this category as well. I will say, like, I don't know about best art direction for Metaphor. Like, it's kind of an ugly game. Like, honestly. Like, I mean, it's very gray. It's not really visually... It doesn't really stand out, in my opinion. What does stand out about it is the same stuff that stood out from Persona. The UI, the combat, the sort of stylistic menus and stuff at the game. All that is great. But I wouldn't really count that... I don't know. Would you count that under art direction? When I think art direction, I think more in-game, like the world and things like that, or like the moment-to-moment gameplay. And for me, the art, that aspect of Metaphor doesn't really shine that much. It doesn't make it a bad game or any less than. It's just not its strong suit. So I don't really see it taking this category. But again, hey, I would love to be wrong. There's also one more here, Neva, Neva, which I believe, I remember seeing trailers for this. It's like a 2D side-scroller, I think. Very pretty looking, though. Very unique, a unique visual style. And I have this as my winner. just because I felt like making a weird choice. So we'll stick with that. Why not? Why not? So we'll say Neva will take best art direction just for fun. We've got best score and music. We've got Astrobot in this category again. And hey, Astrobot, best game ever. Like, aside from the joke I'm doing here, like, the music in that game is very, very good. Each level has really great music, and you'll get like the beginning of a song that's very simple, but by the end of the level, it's worked in all these different elements. And it's really cool. And honestly, like, the main theme is pretty catchy. So I think they did put a lot of work into the score and the music here. And I think you could just listen to the soundtrack of this game, you know, just in your own free time. It doesn't necessarily need to be tied to this game, but it's another element that makes Astrobot a fantastic video game. And I'm happy to see it up for best score and music. We've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which, I mean, Final Fantasy is one of the things it's known for is its incredible music. So, I mean, it's kind of tough to beat that. So I have that as my winner, spoiler alert. I know the only contender that I think could dethrone Final Fantasy here is our next nominee, which is Metaphor. The music in that game is very, very good as well. It's a little reminiscent of Final Fantasy, kind of, but Atlas, you know, people... Ooh, I just kicked my table there. Sorry about that. Metaphor's got great music too. You know, I mean, they're known for their Persona. The music in Persona is very well loved. And it's no exception here. They bring banger after banger in this as well. The battle theme in Metaphor, incredible. We've got Silent Hill 2, which I couldn't even begin to tell you the music in that. Haven't played it. And Stellar Blade as well, which is another game I have not played, so I can't really speak to those. But yeah, I think Final Fantasy, either Final Fantasy or Metaphor is probably going to take this. I have my winner as Metaphor, so I might as well just stick with that. Again, and I think this is, like, I'm strategically picking Metaphor because I think... I don't want to foreshadow, but what I think might win Game of the Year could potentially then not win other categories, you know? I really don't want to see a Final Fantasy sweep. I think that'd be kind of boring. Look, I like Final Fantasy. It's good, but I'm not as reverent about it. Like, it wasn't a big game for me when I was a kid, so I don't really have the connection to it. A lot of folks do, especially folks that are voting for these awards. It's just not really like... It just didn't really hit for me in the way that it's hit for a lot of other people. So I would like to avoid a Final Fantasy sweep if we can, but we'll see. Next, we have Best Audio Design. Astrobot is up once again for this category. I think the sound design or audio design in Astrobot is incredible, just like I think everything else about Astrobot is incredible. But when paired with the haptic feedback, which Astrobot is exceptional at, I think it makes for a really unique pairing and a really incredible game experience. The sounds of your robot guy walking on different textured surfaces, metal versus sand versus snow versus grass, the different sound effects of, you know, it's a platformer, so you've got lots of cute sound effects, lots of cute characters. I just think it all comes together, again, to make this incredible package, and the audio design is certainly a part of that. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I think also had pretty good sound design. You can't really beat Call of Duty when it comes to first-person shooters, production value, right? Great sounds. All the guns sound great in that game. The campaign especially was a pretty big standout for me. I really enjoyed it for the most part, and I think the audio design goes into that as well, right? There's like your home base, and I think I have a section about this later, but I'll touch on it briefly here. You have like a home like base thing, and you can like walk around. And the audio design just in that environment is pretty impressive. The way sound echoes and the way sound carries, and that it's like a big, like mansion kind of thing. So that's just an example. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yeah, I mean, again, another category that I want to make it clear that all the categories I think FF7 Rebirth is nominated for, it deserves to be in all these categories. I think it excels at all these things. I just don't want to see it sweep because I think that would make for a boring show. But yeah, best audio design, I mean, from the in battle stuff to out of battle stuff to the world, it's Final Fantasy. It's going to come with the highest pedigree possible, and it's going to knock it out of the park. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. This is what I have as my winner because the whole point of these games, not the whole point, that's reductive. I would say the thing that this Hellblade games are known for is their audio design. You're meant to play with headphones. It's a stereo binaural experience where you're hearing different voices and hearing different from different sides of the soundscape. And I think the whole, like, when they designed the game, and I forget where this was, but one of the behind the scenes thing, they show how they recorded the audio, and they're like encircling the microphone to get that 360 audio. So they put a lot of work into the audio design. So I think they will win this category. Just because it's like in the Oscars when, like if a movie's about music and they nominate it for best score or something, it's like, oh, well, that's the one about music, or it's the loudest movie, so it's probably going to win. I'm using similar logic here. We also have Silent Hill 2, which I think could probably be a good contender too. I know, again, haven't played Silent Hill 2, but I know that's known for its horror games, especially and audio design, go hand in hand. And Silent Hill 2 probably nails that, so I could see that being a contender as well. But yes, I have Hellblade 2 for best audio design. For those of you keeping score at home, I would love to do not me personally, because I don't want to know if I get every single one of these wrong. But you at home, do like a comparison chart by how many of these I get right. It would be pretty funny if I didn't get a single one correct. Next up, we've got best ongoing game. We've got Destiny 2. Destiny did go to the big farm upstate this year, but they nailed the landing. They stuck the landing with their ending, so I think it could go. I don't know why I put this first if I think it might win, but yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of like when Return of the King came out, and then it won like every single award because it was more about the culmination of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, less so about that movie. So I could see a similar thing happening here with Destiny 2. It's sort of like a swan song, sort of like a, hey, you good job for the last decade of content. And then when you think of ongoing game, I mean, Destiny encapsulates that pretty well. We've also got Diablo 4, which I know that they had DLC come out, so that's probably why that's here as well. I tried getting back into Diablo 4 recently, and it just really doesn't hit, unfortunately. Really wish I wouldn't have bought that full price when it came out, but hey, stuck with it now. We've got Final Fantasy XIV. This is another one that this game is incredibly popular. I have tried to play it multiple times and just cannot figure it out on console. I just think it's meant to be played on PC. Quite frankly, I mean, they have it on console and they did their best, but I just don't think it translates well at all. But in terms of an ongoing game, I know it's still extremely popular, and that game kind of got brought back from the dead however long ago. Fortnite gets nominated for this category every year. They have real life dead people in it now, Juice WRLD. So, hey, that's something that's worthy of an award. Helldivers 2 is also in this category, and I have in my notes that I think Helldivers 2 could win this. I changed my mind to Destiny 2 for the record, but my argument for Helldivers 2 was because people think it got snubbed for Game of the Year, which I could see that, right? I could see that argument. So having it in best ongoing game, and especially those 6 to 8 months when that game came out, and there really was that huge community, and there still is a big community behind it. It's just not as like viral as it was. I think people kind of found the game to be repetitive. I certainly did. I stepped away from it. My friends and I played a couple rounds of it the other day, a couple missions, and it's really fun. So I really think if you're someone that has stopped playing Helldivers 2 because it did feel repetitive, now having taken a break from it and coming back to it, it still hits just like it used to. And in terms of an ongoing game, I think it's a great example of it with how the mission orders work, the community aspect of it. I think it's a great contender for that category. But I do think just because Destiny 2 wrapped up this year, it will win best ongoing game, but we'll see. All right, next we're going to go to best action game. We got Black Myth Wukong, which because I hadn't played it by the time I wrote these show notes, I don't really have anything written down for it. However, I think now having played a decent amount of it, it is a great action game. I mean, it is like I said, it's a Souls-like, but it does a lot of things a little bit differently. It does things its own way. It adds transformations where you can like turn into previous enemies. There's lots of different little mechanics that the game adds that make for a really fun experience. Next up, we've got Black Ops 6. Again, like I said, the campaign here stands out for me. This is a tough category to call, by the way. We'll get to the other nominations in a second, but Black Ops 6 is one of them for me. I was very high on the campaign. It didn't necessarily stick the landing at the end, but I do think it was I had high expectations for Black Ops 6 when it came out. I really wanted to like it. I was hoping it would be good, and it pretty much met my expectations in terms of the campaign. I thought it was very high quality, and it was a ton of fun. Helldivers 2 is here as well. Again, people feeling that it got snubbed. I would say Helldivers 2, and there's also, spoilers, Warhammer 40k. Space Marine 2 is nominated in this category as well. These Helldivers and Space Marine are like the definition of action, right? Moment-to-moment gameplay, explosions, guns. When I think action, I think of these two games. And while they are different from each other, they're similar too. So I could see it going to one of them as well. And then we also have Stellar Blade. I don't know anything about Stellar Blade, so sorry, I can't even. I don't even know what the gameplay is, so I can't really speak to that. But because we have to pick a winner, I'm gonna pick Helldivers 2 because I don't think it will win ongoing game because of Destiny. So I think they'll give it this, but we'll see. Next we have Best Action Adventure Game. It's like action, but with adventure. Astrobot is here. I do not want it to win this if it can win Game of the Year, because it's up for Game of the Year as well. It's the year of Astro, everybody. Just so you know, move over Mario, move over Banjo-Kazooie. It's Astro's time now. Action Adventure. It is adventurous, I'll tell you what. You get a lot of whimsy, a lot of adventure. So it, deserves to be here. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This is actually what I have as the winner. I really should have sorted these by having my winner last. I'm too late now, though. This is what I have as my winner, just because I really enjoyed this game. I think a lot of people forgot about this game. I believe it came out the beginning of this year, like January or February, so it kind of got swept under the rug. I also think I talked about it on this show. God knows what I said. I mean, the second the mic turns on, my brain is completely turned off. But I hope I said positive things about it. And it definitely is very actiony, very adventure, and it's a great Metroidvania, and I would highly recommend you go check it out. Silent Hill 2 is here again. I don't know. I didn't play it. You shoot stuff, so hey, that's action. Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah. I don't remember exactly how negative I was in that Outlaws review, but I have come to loathe that game. So I hope it wins this, just for the joke. I think it'd be funny. It is one of the most boring games I've ever played in my life, and I would love to see it win Best Action Adventure Game. We also have a Nintendo game here, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I have not played this one yet. I don't even know how it reviewed. I think it reviewed... I feel like I saw positive things. I feel like people were saying it's like Nintendo doing Nintendo things, making a great game, just like that standard we've come to expect from them. So, I sure, give it to Zelda if you want. But no, I think the winner here is going to be Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I would like to see that win, just because, like I said, I do think that game got forgotten about, and I believe it deserves more praise than it got, quite frankly. Next, we've got Best RPG, Dragon's Dogma 2, which I did review on this show. I believe that might have been one of the first episodes of this show. I did enjoy this game, but I mean, if I'm going to be honest, it's a tough game. It's a tough game to continue playing, just because it is obtuse, and I'm pretty sure that's the word I used like 50 million times to describe in the review. I'm glad it got nominated because it is an RPG, but I think in terms of like being able to pick it up and play it, I don't think it's for everybody, and I do kind of think that's why it's not going to win this one, is just because it is sort of, in terms of the user experience, I think there is a kind of a barrier to entry there that most people are not going to want to deal with. We got Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree. Sure. Yeah, it's a RPG. Again, this was, I believe, I haven't played it yet because I don't think I'm far enough in Elden Ring to play it. But I know it's like a ton of content. It's people treat it as if it's its own standalone game. So sure, RPG. Final Fantasy VII is in this category as well. I mean, it could definitely win it. Again, like I said, every category that FF7 comes to, it comes with a pedigree, and it comes with like a level of quality that's tough to compete with. We have Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I think this will probably win this category because folks are bummed it didn't win Game of the Year. And I know from the RGG crowd, it was very positively reviewed. So I think they will... I think it will take this category just because it needs some kind of representation. We've also got Metaphor in this list again for this category. I think it will come down to Metaphor or Like a Dragon, because I know like Metaphor is almost like I feel like in terms of how the votes are going to go, it's going to be like right behind Final Fantasy VII in a lot of categories. So I think that might be what makes it eke out over Infinite Wealth, but I really think it could go to either one. But in terms of the chart that you are at home are making, I'm going to put down Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth for best RPG. Now we got best fighting game. We got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I don't really know what kind of horse I have in this race here. I played like half of these categories, but again, I'm not like a fighting game diehard. I know this Dragon Ball game was very popular when it came out. It got a ton of positive buzz. And in terms of just like mass appeal and how I think it sold really well too. I think it could potentially take it. We've got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which I have no clue about. I don't even know where to begin. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. This is cool just in terms of game preservation. This was a big deal when this was announced because now you can play Marvel vs. Capcom 2, MVC 1, and a bunch of other games that I am blanking on the names of right now. But like it was a collection of games that people were waiting for, specifically MVC 2, because you can only get that through like an emulator, but now you can get a physical copy of it. Very big deal. We have Multiversus, which, man, was I excited for this game to come back. They put Samurai Jack in. I don't know if I said that on the show, but I was like, look, if you're going to put any characters and put Samurai Jack in, you'll have my heart. And I did. It had my heart for like a week and a half, but I've pretty much fallen off that game almost permanently. It just didn't, I don't know, something about it just didn't really click for me like I wanted it to. Maybe the progression system, the content, I don't know. But it's not really one I go rushing back to a lot. It just didn't hit for me when it came back the way that I wanted it to. We've also got Tekken 8. This is a huge swing because, again, it came out early 2024, so folks might have forgotten about it. Not folks in the fighting game community, but like the general audience. I was, for a brief moment, almost really into this game. But I'm just not that good at fighting games when it comes to like actually playing online, and I lack the willpower to like try to get better. So I stopped playing it, but the campaign was really cool. I played through the campaign of that. It was very epic. So what do I think is going to win here? Let me look. I'm going to say Tekken 8 just because it is a mainline entry in the Tekken franchise, which is a storied fighting game franchise. And I think it was received extremely well in both the fighting game community and the general audience. So Tekken 8, I think, will win Best Fighting Game. Next, we got Best Family Game. Astrobot's up for this. I don't know what the definition of a family game is. I would assume it means you can play with your family, but I think it also might mean it's more for a younger audience. So, however you want to interpret it. I don't want Astrobot to win this. It's meant for bigger things, quite honestly, okay? We've got Princess Peach Showtime. No idea what that game is. Didn't play it. But this is like the Nintendo category, kind of. You got Super Mario Party Jamboree, which it's tough to beat a Mario Party game when it comes to family games. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which I briefly touched on earlier. And The Plucky Squire. So here's the thing. I have this down to two potential winners. I have it as Super Mario Party or Plucky Squire. I really wanted to like Plucky Squire when it came out. I was very much looking forward to it. But the problem with that game turned out to be that it was for a younger demographic. There was way too much hand-holding in that game. And it just got annoying after a while, honestly. I don't know. We're going to say Plucky Squire because it'd be fun. Because there's, what, 1, 2, 3 Nintendo games in this category. And it'd be interesting to have like an indie developer win this over big Nintendo. But yeah, sure, why not? Plucky Squire for family game. All right, we got, 2 categories left before the big one. Best multiplayer, we've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6. This is, well, see, I wrote this before Marvel Rivals came out. But this was the most I was into a COD multiplayer since Modern Warfare 2019. The return of the classic Prestige, a ton of maps on launch. It's a very, very strong pick for multiplayer, I think. The only reason I could see it not winning is because like Black Ops 6 does a lot more than just multiplayer. There's the zombies mode and the campaign mode, which I think are both pretty high quality as well. So I could see it them maybe withholding it for a more purely multiplayer focused game. Speaking of which, the next nomination is Helldivers 2. I think it will probably win this category. just because of I touched on it in the best ongoing game section, but just the way this game took the world by storm and the way this game was about playing with your friends and the amount of fun I had with my friends in it. I think it's really something special. And I think it is a great pick for best multiplayer game. But I'm legally obligated to still read the other nominations, which are Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is sort of the argument I made for it in Best Family Game because you're playing it with the family, a multiplayer game. Tekken 8, which, yes, the multiplayer here was fun. I played it for a little bit, but then got destroyed and stopped playing it. But again, I think Tekken 8 is probably going to take fighting game. And then we also have Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, because I guess when you nominate Helldivers, you got to nominate Warhammer. But yeah, I think if it were to come down to these two, I think for this category specifically, Helldivers 2 would take the cake over Warhammer just because of how it took the world by storm. Next up, we got most anticipated game. We had Death Stranding. Oh, see, I'm not even going to give my opinions here. I'm going to read the nominations and you see if you guess which one I think is going to win. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, which I didn't know that was the subtitle for that. Ghost of Yotai, which is the Ghost of Tsushima 2 sequel. Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4, Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, all of these games are valid. However, one of them is Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't think there is a chance at all that any of these other games beat GTA 6 in terms of most anticipated game. I swear I saw a headline the other day that like they're saying it's been, I think we crossed the year deadline since the trailer for GTA 6, and I think that they are deliberately making that part of their marketing strategy. I swear I saw some headline about that, of like they're saying it's a good thing they're not putting out a lot about it because it gets people talking about it. So yeah, GTA 6 most anticipated game. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the game of the year for 2024. I'm going to go through the nominations here. I really should have sorted my notes in a better way to make it less obvious which one I'm choosing. Anyway, first up we have Astrobot. I will probably do my full episode on Astrobot for review, but what I'll say here is the short version. I've legitimately had a religious and spiritual experience with Astrobot. It is like, if I were to describe it to you, it is joy in its purest form. It has brought me so much joy. Every level is just, there's just so many things to do in every level, so many things to interact with, so many things that you think, can I do this? Or, hey, what happens if I do this? And then something happens, you're like, wow, that was really cool and magical. Like I've been joking about it through this episode, but I do think it's a legitimately incredible game. I think it's a contender for like up there with best platforms ever. Again, it's, I mean, I haven't played like, the OG platformers like Donkey Kong Country and stuff, but all the ones I've played, I think Astrobot's exemplary. What else do I have here gushing about it? Blah, 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 blah. The haptic feedbacks, which I already touched on, super incredible. It makes you wonder why every game doesn't do that with the PS5 controller. The way levels are designed and flow from start to finish. The satisfaction of finding every hidden collectible on each level. I'm not even like a 100% completionist kind of guy, but like I want to do the platinum for Astrobot just because I enjoy these levels so much and I just want to explore every inch of them. This game is truly special, and it is definitely my hope for for Game of the Year. Again, I shouldn't have put it first in the list, but here we are. If you enjoy happiness, if you enjoy feeling joy, go play Astrobot. Next up, we have Balatro. I think this is a pretty interesting inclusion. I do think it deserves to be here. Balatro was a huge hit for people, especially people in games media, people that travel a lot for work, maybe. This was a game that you could just sink hours and hours and hours into, and I've played a chunk of it. Not a crazy amount, but I picked it up on mobile when it came out to mobile. I think it's cool. I think if Game of the Year is meant to capture the games that sum up 2024, I think Balatro is in that conversation. I think when it came out, similar to a Helldivers 2, even though it didn't get nominated, the way Balatro took everybody by storm and like everybody was playing it when it came out and people are still playing it and the hours and hours and hours people slunk into it. I think it was, I think it's an example of a perfect roguelike game. It's a very simple concept, poker, and that is developed and expanded. And poker is also just a great starting point to make a game, and then add on to that the rogue mechanics and the Joker cards and the progression in that, and the shop and the different types of cards you can get and the bonuses and how fast you can get multipliers going, things like that. I think it is also, in terms of like an accessibility standpoint, because it is poker at its core, I think that might allow for more people to be able to play it. Like, you don't have to have perfect aim like it's a Call of Duty, right? You don't have to know how to use a controller even if you're playing on mobile. But a lot of people know how to play poker, right? A lot of people know hand combinations of cards just from, playing cards in real life. So I think that in terms of getting people on board for this, is a pretty good way to do that. Next up, we got Black Myth Wukong. I know this game, I think it made a ton of money, which might be part of why it's here. But I definitely think it deserves to be here. I think it's got the production behind it. I think it's again, now with these notes, I've now played the game since, so I can speak to it a little bit more. I can understand why it's on this list, is what I'll say. It's a game that stands out. I think it's a game that presents itself very well, honestly. I don't even know how to describe it, but I would recommend you check it out if you like these Souls-like games. If you liked Lies of P, it's a little bit like that, even though I didn't love that game because I was just kind of bad at it. But yeah, games like that, and you're a monkey, so automatically it deserves to be on the Game of the Year nomination. We've got Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. So here's the thing, right? And like, look, the discourse around this has been whatever. I don't think it should be in this. I don't think it should be up for Game of the Year, right? This is a DLC for Elden Ring. DLC which you can't access right away. You need to have like 60 hours in Elden Ring to be able to play this game. I don't like. Yes, it is worthy of praise. Yes, it is. It's fine that it's nominated for all the other categories it's nominated for. But I think when it comes to Game of the Year, for me, what it comes down to is you need to be able to go out and pick up the game and play it if it's nominated for Game of the Year. And if it could win Game of the Year, you should be able to like go and, you don't have to, you can download it, whatever, and play the game. But you can't do that with Shadow of the Erdtree because it's additional content, and you have to have, like, you can't even boot up Elden Ring and play it from the beginning. You have, actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I haven't tried. I don't know if maybe they do it where you have like a pre-rolled save, kind of like The Witcher did with their extra DLCs, but I don't think that you can. I'm pretty sure you have to have your save and play to a certain point to be able to experience this content. So that's the only reason I don't think it should be up for Game of the Year. I'm fine with it being everywhere else, but I think for Game of the Year, this spot easily could have gone to a Helldivers or something like that. But yeah, that's just my piece on it. I think if it wins Game of the Year, people will lose their minds. I think that'd be funny just to see that. But yeah, it's nothing crazy, nothing hot takey. I think you should be able to play the game day and date if it wins Game of the Year, if it's nominated, and you just can't do that with Shadow of the Erdtree. So, yeah. Also, when I was doing these show notes, I keep correcting it to Nerd Tree. So take that, Souls fans, in your Nerd Tree. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is here. This is what's probably going to win, even though I want Astrobot to win. I mean, it's just a juggernaut, right? And there's a reason it's in every other category. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you see, again, we go back to the Oscars comparison. If you see a movie up for like 15 different categories and Best Picture, it's like, okay, well, if it nailed all these elements, then it's probably the best game or the best movie of the year in terms of the awards and the Academy or whatever. So yeah, I really don't have much more to say about Rebirth. It probably is going to win Game of the Year if it somehow doesn't win anything else. But yeah, so if I was a betting man, and I am, and I'm terrible at gambling, but for this instance, I would put money on FF7 Rebirth to win Game of the Year. Metaphor is also here, and I think this is probably the second contender, because like I said, I feel like in all these categories, these Metaphor and Final Fantasy are kind of neck and neck. I wouldn't be shocked if it ended up going to Metaphor just because of how much that game, how popular that game has been since it came out. It's sort of scratching the Persona itch for those fans, and those games, I think, when it comes to the Game Awards like committee, I don't know what they're called, the people that vote on these things, I think these kinds of games like JRPGs really land with this crowd, and they tend to get awarded favorably. But at the end of the day, I do think we will see FF7 Rebirth as our 2024 Game of the Year. But we did it. We did it, everybody. There are some big categories I skipped because I just didn't have anything to share. But if you have a category that I skipped or a category that I did cover that you want to tell me about, leave a comment, something like that. Yeah, but that's going to wrap up episode 18 of No Credits Rolled. You can always email your questions or your comments or your rants or your whatever you want to send me to nocreditsrolled@gmail.com. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get it. On YouTube, on TikTok, on Spotify, Apple, wherever. Every little bit helps. And yeah, guess what? That's all I got. I'll see you next time, whenever that may be, on No Credits Rolled.